Our last speaker is Marilyn Lindsay. She began her career in the mid-'80s as a technology instructor for Novell Inc. For 10 years, she taught train-the-trainer courses to engineers and retailers throughout the U.S. on the connectivity of hardware and software products. While raising her children in the 90s, Lindsay obtained a California teaching credential. She applied her BA in journalism and MS in education to teaching high school English in the public schools. Years later, she was drawn to alternative and preventative healthcare and completed board certification in holistic nutrition. She began working as a clinical nutritionist in 2015 at Unconventional Medicine in Marin County, California. In 2019, Lindsay and her husband moved to Ashland, where she consults in private practice. Lindsay recently joined the board of Oregon for Safer Technology. And what Lindsay has to share here is hope. Hope for the city, hope for the fact that we already have some infrastructure in place that will lead us to the next step in improving our lives and our health. Lindsay?
Thank you, Teresa. I do respect all your time, and so I will try to make it this as fast as I can, but I do want to deliver hope because we just took in a lot of heavy information, and there is hope. Luckily, we live in Ashland. We love Ashland, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Why do we love Ashland? Yell out what you love about Ashland.
The people.
The people.
Well, ecstatic moments.
Ecstatic dance.
Organic food.
Organic food. The Grange. Our parks, our trails.
Courage to be alternative.
Say that again.
Courage to be alternative.
Courage to be alternative.
Right now, no
Beautiful.
smart meters mostly in Ashland, that's nice.
We can opt out. Can't do that anymore.
Well, no,
Tom.
we have, most of them aren't smart meters as far as I know.
Because people have opted out
Yes,
because we are a conscious community, right? Okay, so we're going to keep being a conscious community. We're going to lead other communities. So what have we done so far? We have Ashland Fiber Network. So over 20 plus years ago, there was a group of people who decided that we could be in control of our own telecommunications. We could install fiber, and Ashland Fiber Network has 90% of Ashland covered. 90%, however, it's not all fiber. It's a mix. It's coax and fiber. That needs to change. That needs to be upgraded. That needs to be expanded. But that is in play. I spoke with the operational manager at Ashland Fiber Network just earlier in the week, and he told me that he is delivering a presentation to the City Council in a couple of weeks. It'll be a 2-year pilot project, in which case they will connect 250 homes, a mix of homes. They'll contact some HOAs, they'll connect some SOU dorms. 250 residents will be connected to complete fiber, what they call fiber to home. So let's talk about fiber for a minute, and I'll come back to what we've got going already in Ashland. Fiber is an alternative to wireless. If you think about fiber, I want you to think about the 5 S's. Fiber, first of all, is fast, so speed. It's almost the speed of light, and that competes with 5G. Fiber is secure. It is nearly impossible to tap into fiber. I don't want to say impossible because I don't know for sure, but it's on strands of glass that the light is passing through, and the fiber itself is typically installed underground. So we have speed, and we have security, we have safety. I should have mentioned that first, right? We have human safety, we have safety of the environment, the insects, the bees, all of life. This is what we don't have with the wireless. We have savings. Now, I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't cost a lot of money to install fiber. It does. Let's take an example of the gold standard, which is Chattanooga, Tennessee. They are a fully fiber city. They have 600 miles of fiber installed. I think it's miles, not acres. I could be wrong. It's sounding like a lot. I think it's acres. Their population is quite large, much larger than ours. They have 180,000 people. Everyone in Chattanooga, Tennessee is connected from all the way to the home with fiber. So what that did for Chattanooga brings me to the last S in the 5 S's of fiber, which I termed seekers. They were able to attract industry as a result of having this fiber infrastructure throughout their city. They had DOD move in. They had a lot of industries that, finance industries that need secure communications. We need a vision for Ashland. Ashland is in the process of reforming its identity. And what I know of this community is that we are health conscious. Ashland could be a haven. And if we had a fiber to home infrastructure, imagine people would seek us out. So the initial investment, let's go back to Ashland Fiber Network. This pilot project will run for 2 years. Why? Because the technicians, the operational managers have estimates of what it will cost to expand the fiber network to all of Ashland, but they want to make sure that those numbers are accurate. So by doing a 2-year pilot study with 256 residents, they will gather the exact numbers that they need in order to then come back to the community and to the city council and say, okay, this is what it will cost us to be a fully fiber city. Right now the projection is 20 million. That sounds like a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Chattanooga's was 200 million, and within 10 years, they're in the black. Why? Because they attracted industry. They attracted people who understood how bad the wireless technology is for us. That's my vision for Ashland. Yes?
I know it's a question, but if you've got fiber and people are still using Wi-Fi at their houses and they're still using their cell phones and stuff, I don't see how that's helping at all.
Excellent question.
I like the idea of being of everyone being encouraged to hardwire their homes, or to have some new homes actually have hardwired technology where it's all set up for them, so that all they really need to do is be willing to put the wire in when, wire up their houses. Wire up their devices to the wall.
Right. Thank you for that question, because that was also a question in my own mind is, okay, so you have fiber, but what about people on their cell phone walking down the street? It's still going to need to be talking wirelessly. So here's what I was told when I asked that question to the operations manager at Ashland Fiber Network. My question was, well, I see the advantage of fiber, but what about that? What about the fact that people still walk around with these cell phones? And this was the answer. Telecom is looking for markets where they can employ their 5G because it makes them a lot of money. All of the components and something that has been brought up about 5G is that it has a shorter distance that it needs to communicate with the next tower. So a fully 5G city will have about 3 to 4, they're not towers like the monopine towers. You will see them on telephone poles or their own poles. And I'm sure, Jerry, that you saw them, maybe you saw them in Mexico, but there would be like 3 to 4 to a block because they have to be closer together to transmit. So it would just not only just be ugly, but there would just be radiation. We would be radiating. We would be in a microwave. So, but that's what telecom's looking for. They're looking for markets where they can go in and they can install all of these devices and make their big money. So what I was told was that if you have a fully fiber city infrastructure, you're not a desirable market for telecom. You're not as desirable because yes, they can still, put in a couple of cell towers and help you with your wireless cell phones, but they're looking to get all of your data business, all of your transferring of videos and everything else that we do on our computers. So, well, would we be able to be completely wireless? No, but this is the two-prong approach. First and foremost, top priority right now is getting ordinances in place that will control telecom and where they place those towers. So what you heard tonight was a success story from Jerry and Paul that jumped right on that proposed application for that proposed cell tower. So what we don't want to have to do is do that fight every time they pick a new location. Every time, you know, somebody has some extra land and wants to make money because the cell tower will pay them monthly a fee to be able to put a tower on their property. And so that one individual benefits, that one individual makes money while everyone around them instead pays the cost. We don't want to have to fight that. You saw how Paul explained everything he went through, and Jerry, and Alan, all of us, why we would have to do that every time. If you enact ordinances, if a city has ordinances, and believe me, there are cities throughout the United States that have done this, so it's been done, and we are in the process of trying to do it. The city is supposedly in contract with Andrew Campanelli. He's how would you describe him, Alan? He specializes in telecom ordinances. So we want ordinances in place so that your neighbor can't get a tower next to your property. Okay, that's the top priority we're working on. And please, before you leave tonight, make sure that you've signed in and you can be on Oregon for Safer Technologies mailing list, because we'll keep you updated on how that's all going. We might want to ask you to come to city council meeting when ordinance verbiage is being read to show that we are a community that really supports this. We want these ordinances. We don't want to have to fight cell tower after cell tower. That's the first of the two-pronged approach. That gives us time to keep ourselves as safe as we can while Ashland Fiber Network works to expand a complete fiber infrastructure in Ashland, making us an undesirable market for telecom. They will just pass over us for the next town that doesn't have the ordinances and that doesn't have any other option to obtain data and voice speed. So this is where we live in. People want to work from home. Most of us rely on our computers, but it doesn't have to be the kind of technology that also jeopardizes our health. So I'm going to end on that note, and then